What is up, coaches? Welcome to my first ever video. This is a tutorial on anime spawning, so let's see how it's done. Okay, let's start. Let's create a plane here to use as a platform. Size it 3 by 3. Okay, that looks good. Now create an empty that will house the spawn points. This is more to clean up the hierarchy. Create 3 spawn points, number 1, number 2, and number 3. Okay. Center that like that, and center this too. Now these can be placed basically anywhere on the plane. This is this will be the different spawn points, the different locations where enemies can actually spawn. That looks pretty good. Yep. Now we'll create some folders. We'll create a script folder, a material folder, and lastly a prefab folder, which will hold our enemy types. Let's create the script first. Create a new C script called C# called spawn master, like this. Okay, do a public transform array called spawn points, a public game object array called spawnable prefabs. Fine. Public integer spawn amount, that's how many enemies to spawn, and a list of game objects called spawn objects. This is a list of all the objects that are currently in the world, in the game, in the level. Then a float with sorry, offset, and an enumerator with spawn type, either waves or ones. And create, of course, a variable based on that one. Now a void spawn. This is the spawn function. So if you want, you can call this whenever you want to spawn some enemies. Let's decide a spawn point. It will pick a random out of the spawn points array. Random range 0 spawn point dot length, and also the kind of enemy to spawn, game object, spawnable prefabs, and then a random. So you'll be able to spawn different kinds of enemies, for instance, you know, assault, or like a soldier or a general and stuff. Now we modify the position of it. We will simply do spawn objects. Wait a minute. Spawn point dot position dot x. And then spawn point position y and plus the offset. This so that the enemies doesn't collide in each other and like explode all over the place. And this now the y position is upwards. Okay. Create a game object based on instantiate. This will spawn an object into the world and call it the variable object here, obj, like that. Return an identity to have it at 0, 0, 0 rotation. Yeah, don't do this part. This was actually a mistake. Keep the old spawn point position thing. I will fix that a little bit later in the video. Add that to the spawned objects list. And repeat this whole segment for each enemy you want to spawn. And plus, of course, offset 1. Insert like that. Perfect. now we will create the start, and if you selected the spawn type of once, it will spawn right at the start. It's like that. And in update, it will check if all enemies are dead. And spawn object is empty. You check if it's empty by doing count, there we go, 0, and then spawn. So we'll spawn a wave, we'll kill the enemies, then we'll spawn another wave. It's like that. I think that's it. I think that's it on this script. Yeah. Okay, it's gonna compile. And you don't need to do this, but I will do a little script here for the spawnable objects for the enemies, just for it to be a little more dynamic or live. Of course, this Visual Studio thing will pop out. And there we go. Sorry for the lag here, guys. Have a lifespan and an age. The update function, it will add every second, it will increase in age. So lifespan is basically how many seconds it will stay in the world before being destroyed or killed. Let me just comment, and this will just rotate the cube to make it look more, less dead, I guess. And rotate at 60 degrees per second. Okay, now I'm going to do something I actually forgot, and that is to comment the function so the code is more easily readable. This is a somewhat pointless and boring element to have in the video, and mainly targeted toward my wonderful patrons that get a week early access to all the project files. Link in the description. Donations are very welcome. This file will fast forward here a bit. Let's now create different materials. This is just to differentiate between the different enemy types. Of course, you can have different models and such. We'll create a green, a red, and a blue. Wait a minute, there it is. Blue. I'll also create 3 prefabs here for the enemy types. We'll have rigid bodies. This is how gravity works. It's basically physics. We'll have the spawn ball, lifespan of 30 seconds. So we'll stay in the world 30 seconds and then disappear. That is also basically object pooling. Just good performance-wise. Let's create 1 green cube. Copy that with Ctrl D 2 times. Separate them so you can see it's three different cubes. Color them differently. Like that. One with each material. Create a game manager. Place it at the top and do the spawn master in here. Oh, sorry, spawn master. Drag in all the spawn points to this array. Like this. And create prefabs by dragging these down here. Like this. All 3 of them. You can delete these now. I'm going to here. Now I did wrong here. You're not supposed to place them. You're supposed to place them in spawnable prefabs. Like that. 1. Remove that. That's supposed to be empty when you start the game. And I got a bit confused there. I think I added the same. Yep. Okay. I'll do this manually then. I just wasted a lot of time there. Okay, let's see here. Spawn amount 10 enemies per wave. Do it once and with an offset of 1 because the cubes are 1 unit high in height. Let's try it out. This will lag a bit because of my computer, but it's just to show that it works. And it doesn't because of the mistake I mentioned earlier. This is where I realize it. Wait a minute. And there it is. Just like that. I speeded it up there a bit. And now, as you can see, it spawns random colored blocks of the materials in the prefabs at random positions. Let me drag this up to 30. And as you can see, wait for it, it spawns 30 random enemies at a random location out of those 3. Works. Well, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Hope this tutorial helped you in any way. Please check out the description as I have some links and other information there that might interest you, and I'll see you on Friday.